It's time for episode 31 of the Mystical Times blog podcast with me, Michelle Eve. This episode is called The Folk of the Fairy Realm, and I will share two fascinating accounts of those who met with creatures from this realm in the county of Gloucestershire. Gloucestershire is wrapped in folklore, myths and legends, from the rolling hills of the Cotswolds, the whispering trees of the Forest of Dean, to the weaving River Severn. Tales of fairy folk are many. There are even some places in Gloucestershire named after the fairy beings. Puck comes from the Old English and means goblin, so places with Puck in its name always refer to places where goblins are found. Puck Pit Lane in Winchcombe means goblin pit, and there is an old quarry along the lane. Many of these places are close to old quarries, and this is because people thought that goblins lived underground, and the cracks in rock faces and caves in quarries were how they come up above the ground. The famous author J R R Tolkien probably knew about this, and it is conceivable that he heard about it whilst in Gloucestershire. From the goblins who are said to guard hidden tunnels with treasure, and who are cunning in deterring humans away from these tunnels, to those fairy folk who are helpful to humans in their hour of need. These are just two intriguing encounters that I'll share with you on this episode, and that both happened in the ancient county of Gloucestershire. The Gloucestershire Goblins of Tarbarrow. In the Bodleian Library is a 1685 account of a scary tale of the opening of one of the tar barrows on the edge of Cirencester. Two brothers were digging gravel in Colton's field on the edge of one of the barrows when the side of the pit gave way, revealing a dark gaping hole that the men described as an entrance into the belly of the hill. Cautiously the men went inside with a lamp and found several rooms of furniture, which on being touched crumbled to dust. And they also found dozens of urns, some with ashes and others full of golden coins. In another room they saw a man in armour with a spear in one hand and a lamp burning before it. However, as they approached the figure, it moved to attack them, smashing the lamp, and the terrified men turned and fled back through the barrow. As they reached the entrance, they heard a loud, hollow noise, like a groan behind them, and immediately the earth fell in all around, burying all the treasure. One version of the tale says that only one of the brothers escaped, and if you visit tar barrows on a full moon and listen quietly, you can hear the scrabbling and sobs as the brother who was left behind tries to dig himself out. The Fairy Inn, Dursley, Gloucestershire. This is a tale from many moons ago. A man was travelling on his horse to see his friends in Stroud, Gloucestershire. As the dark of the night was closing in, snow started to heavily fall, and he was north of the Gloucestershire town of Dursley. He felt he and his horse couldn't go on much further, but what choice did he have? As he weighed up his options, he saw the glimmer of lights in the near distance. As he proceeded towards the lights, he saw it was an inn. He felt so lucky to have found this safe shelter in the snowstorm. An older man approached him and told the traveller that he was the groom for the inn, and he would take care of his horse whilst the man could spend the night at the inn. Another man, who was dressed all in green, showed him to his room. Both the traveller and his horse were well fed and looked after. The traveller slept soundly and woke before dawn. Not wanting to disturb anyone, he took his horse and left 2 guineas on the side in payment for the hospitality he was shown. He finally got to his friend's house in Stroud and his friends said he had been worried about him travelling in such a heavy snowstorm. The traveller said he had stayed at a lovely inn and had been well looked after. The traveller's friends said there was no inn or even a house in that area, so they decided to go take a look. As they got to the area, all they found was the 2 guineas the traveller had left, and only his and his horse's prints in the snow. It was then that the traveller's friend remarked, "I'm told they only get seen on nights when the weather is bad, and never accept payment, but they never stay later than the first crack of dawn, so it was lucky you left when you did, otherwise you would have woken up in the snow." And that's all for this episode, and I do hope you enjoyed hearing those strange fairy folk encounters. For the next episode, episode 32, I'll be sharing some spooky experiences from the county of Somerset. Till next time.